and blessings, everybody, and happy Monday. Welcome to another session of, bringing new content from your favorite nonprofit strategist, Asiya Nasir, and I'm also the founder of my consulting firm, Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions, and author of the book, Nonprofit Doesn't Mean No Profit. So, once again, we're here on a Monday morning, ready to start our week, ready to get going, ready to get our thoughts on, being intentional about what we're going to do for the week to make sure that our nonprofit is truly fulfilling its mission in real time, which is what I do with each and every one of my clients. So, for those of you who are new to my YouTube channel and just tuning in, or on my LinkedIn page, or on Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions Facebook page, this is where you can find us each and every Monday sharing nonprofit content that is truly going to help you to be able to make an impact in the communities that you're looking to serve. So each and every week, I share information with you. That you can take to your board of directors, to your volunteers, or whatever component that it is necessary for you to take your nonprofit to the next level. So this week is no different. I'm going to be doing the same thing, and it's kind of piggybacking off of last week's conversation. We were talking about spotlighting, volunteers' experiences and their stories to be able to, garner more support from the community, either, donors or even those just looking to support your nonprofit and become a volunteer as well. You can never have enough volunteers. So this week we're going to be kind of taking from that theme, but we're going to be focusing more on spotlighting on donor stories and their motivation and why they donate to your nonprofit. Because at the end of the day, you can have great products, you can have great services, you can have a great mission that you're looking to accomplish within your community. But if you do not have the funding for it, you're not going to be able to fulfill your mission in real time. And that's ultimately the goal. The goal is that you want to be able to fulfill your mission in real time, so that way the recipients of your nonprofit can actually feel confident, not only that you're able to assist them that one time, but that you're able to assist them on a continuous basis, and that your organization is something that they can count on, and that your organization is something that's here for the long haul. So let's talk about how your existing donors, how you can spotlight, their donations in a way that's going to inspire other donors to say, hey, you know what? I have funds, I have a commitment to my community. I just don't know where I may want to, support, or who I want to support. And your existing donors can be the conduit for their pockets to be in your nonprofit, and you being able to stay sustainable for your organization. So the first strategy, and I always say strategies because you have to be strategic in everything that you do in order to take it to the next level. So let's get right into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Strategy number one. Strategy number one is to do exactly that. Take your existing donors, which you should have a relationship with. You should have been nurturing this relationship. So you should be able to have the freedom of being able to call them and ask them if they can do this for you, which is, can they tell can they have a personal testimonial that they're willing to share, with others about their experience and their why. Why do they donate to your nonprofit? People support organizations, or especially nonprofits, because it touches the heart in some way, shape, or form. It's either something that they're seeing personally, that's happening in their communities. Maybe they grew up in a particular community and it's changed for the worse. And they're seeing things that they would like to see better. They want to have things get back to what it used to be. And so they monetarily support because they know how important it is. So there's a personal connection to your nonprofit. Some people donate because it touches them personally. Maybe at some point they were a recipient of the type of services that you offer, whether it's being homeless, whether it's, not having enough to be able to, feed their entire family, although working. Maybe it's re-entering from being incarcerated and having a nonprofit that focuses on re-entry into society through vocational and financial literacy and different things. It could be battered women, it could be self-esteem, anything sports related, anything that touches someone personally, and they're like, you know what, I was that person. I was a recipient of those type of services at one point, and so I believe in this cause, and I want to help the next person who was in my position. And but for the fact that there were donors that cared about, where I was at one point, I want to be, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I want to be that, I want to pay it forward for someone else as well. It could be a personal story where they may have lost a loved one due to gun violence, and your nonprofit is making sure teens stay off of, the streets and doing something positive. So there's various reasons why someone would want to give. And when you hear their personal testimony, when you hear the connection to your nonprofit, it allows other people that are in their shoes, that same, say, you know what, I'm in a position to be able to make a difference. I was that person. I have a personal connection as well. And I could see why, there's a synergy here. And you know what? I think I want to be part of, that family and be able to support them as well. So sometimes hearing another person who works in the same profession, came from the same neighborhood, was a recipient as well, maybe lost a loved one, and they're telling their story about how they're making a difference. Maybe not starting a nonprofit, but they're supporting a nonprofit to make a difference, that may inspire them to do the same. And you want to make sure you hit all platforms. When you do that, when you're sharing that donor's testimonial, you want to have it on your website. You want to have it on all your social media platforms. And you want to make sure that if you have a monthly newsletter or weekly newsletter, however you're, um, disseminating your newsletter, you want to make sure that it's in that newsletter as well. So that way everybody can see what you're, and be inspired by that donor's testimonial. So you want to be able to share that with everyone and anyone, that you can share it with. So personal testimonials is strategy number one. Reach out to your existing donors and ask them to share their story. Strategy number two is making sure that you're doing visual storytelling. A lot of times when we think of newsletters, because I just mentioned newsletters, it's in written form, or we put it in an email blast and it's in written form. I'm going to tell you right now, you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that. People are not sitting any longer. Unfortunately, people are not sitting and reading like they used to. People are not sitting down reading a story. They're not, they're not reading paragraphs of stories. We are living in an age where everything is visual, everything is in video. Even social media has changed. Before it was pictures, right? Only pictures. Now social media has turned to videos, and that's why you have other social media platforms like TikTok now, because everything is in video format. So if you have a testimonial, ask your donors to put it in video format. Now, this is something that if you really want to, make a difference, tug at the heart by using video platform, video storytelling, what you want to do is maybe get someone, an intern from college, or get an intern, a volunteer that's really good at videography and knows how to make these TikTok videos and know how to edit and cut and paste and do all of those different things, because video telling a story has to be that. It can't just be post them up on the video and have have your donor tell their story. You want to be able to make your story by implementing what's called infographics, information while that person is speaking, or maybe when you do put up pictures like that donor actually at an event, or that donor who's sponsored for a particular recipient or a particular family, and they're meeting that family, and that recipient is meeting their donor, their sponsor. That those are usually emotional moments, right? So you capture those pictures. You want to be able to have that in video format by possibly having voiceovers and things like that. It sounds complicated for someone like myself who's not, tech savvy. However, I have a videographer who takes care of that. When I want to get a story out, when I want to tell a particular story through my voiceovers, through my pictures, through videos, I get my videographer to put it in a story within 1 to 2 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes, like a commercial. 1 to 2 minutes telling that donor story. because everyone loves a great story. Everyone loves a success story. So get someone to be able to do that. So if you have pictures and you don't have a video, put it in a picture collage, and then have a videographer. And like I said, if you don't have the budget for it, you may want to get an intern from a college, from someone who is studying videography, even high school. Some magnet schools and technical schools, high schools, they have videography. Maybe you can get someone to be able to do that. Schools and colleges love to take projects like that, and you don't have to pay for it. Or if you have a volunteer in your volunteer pool, that's why you have volunteers, because they have a level of expertise that you would not, if you had typically had to pay for it, it would be out of your budget. But they're in your pool, so maximize on that. Allow them to be able to shine and be able to make those video stories that are going to be able to inspire others to want to donate to your nonprofit as well, by telling your donor story. So that's strategy number 2. Strategy number 3, and you see this a lot. Even my nonprofit, I run a nonprofit called Jessica Cares, but I also have a talk show called Conversations with Asiya. Now, you have other nonprofit organizations because they want to bring visibility and awareness to their organization and their cause and the mission in which they're championing. Sometimes they have podcasts. So if you have a podcast, or if you don't, even if you're just on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, something like that, you can do what's called interactive Q&A, or like an interview with your donors. Just do a live with your donor. If you don't have a podcast, or if you don't have a talk show, do a live on social media, just opening up the door to asking the question, kind of like that personal testimonial. So instead of it just being a testimonial and a video, which you still want, do an interview. Do an interview with one of your donors, asking them, how did they find out about your nonprofit? What made them, from the time that they saw what your organization was all about, to actually making a donation? What was the reason? What resonated with them? What touched them? What continues to have them as a donor, as a recurring donor, someone that continues to donate to your nonprofit? What is the reason behind it? What is a success story, something that they've seen personally that they want to share on that interactive Q&A that you're asking that nonprofit? And then you may want to open it up for the viewers that are watching on your channel, whether it's YouTube, or whether it's, like I said, Facebook or Instagram. You can have them. You can have your followers and your viewers ask the donor questions. Ask the donor questions about what their why was, and it doesn't have to always be your big donors either. It doesn't have to just be your big donors, because some people may be uninspired because they're like, I don't have that kind of money to donate. So mix it up. Mix up your donor pool with your larger donors, and even your smaller donors. So that way everybody can see themselves being a donor and a supporter of your nonprofit organization. So you may have someone that consistently donates $25 or $50 a month. That's someone that you may want to have as well. So that way someone can say, "Hey, that's something I can afford. I can do that." And look at the impact. So out of that $50 a month, this is what it's contributing to for the nonprofit. This is the impact that that money makes every single month. Maybe it sponsors a person. Maybe it pays a particular bill. Maybe it subsidizes a program for the recipients, whatever it is. But be able to say what that money actually goes to, and how does that donor feel about the impact that they're making for that nonprofit. So have that conversation live, where people can see this is not something that was rehearsed or made up. This is just on the cuff, people answering and speaking, donors speaking straight from the heart as to the impact, and just answering questions and allowing other donors to be able to do so. And it gives you an opportunity then to tell people where they can go to be able to make their donation as well. So you can refer them, and to your website, or if you have a particular link that you're doing, maybe it's a campaign, you can have them go to that link and be able to click on there and make a donation. So this is a direct, inspirational story Q&A that allows people to hear, and then you're directing people to be able to do the same by telling them where to find your website or link to make a donation. So that's strategy number 3. And strategy number four, as I mentioned, every week I do five. So strategy number four is tell the impact story. So a lot of times we talk about, what made that person donate, their why, and that why is so heart wrenching sometimes because you can see the connection with that particular donor and the nonprofit organization that they're supporting. You can see the connection to it, and it's touching. It's always touching when you tell a story that has a human aspect to it. So it's really good to be able to do that, but you also want to tell, as I was alluding to earlier, tell the impact of it. Like if there was a particular project and that donor made a significant dent in that project to bring it to fruition, you want to tell that particular story, that impact story, right? If there's a particular recipient that, in order to be in the program, so I'll give you an example. If your organization is running some type of program, some type of service that it's providing, and typically it costs a certain amount per person or per family, and you have a donor that said, "I'm going to sponsor that family. I'm going to sponsor that person for the entire year," and that person is able to go through your programs or be a recipient of your services for a year, you can tell that before and after story, that impact, what difference that sponsorship made for that particular family or for that particular recipient. Maybe that family was homeless, but because of the sponsorship of that particular donor, they were able to, learn financial literacy and participate in some type of first home, buyers program or something like that, and was able now to be placed in a home of their own, something like that, something that would really show the impact. If there was a child who needed additional tutoring because they were behind in reading, and your sponsorship was able to pay for that tutoring that parent was not able to do, and you can see now that child's grade point average or their reading level went up, the impact that it makes. That's what people want to hear. So when they make a donation, it's inspiring. Like, you donated this amount, that's within my budget. I can donate that and look at the impact it made for one person. I want to make that impact, on their story. Which, if you notice, this is something that they change. I remember when I was growing up, they used to show the stories of children overseas that were going hungry, and families living in very impoverished conditions, and they would ask for money, but you never knew the follow-up. You didn't know what happened to them. You didn't know, if the money reached them or anything like that. Well, when donors started to question and ask and wanted to know, nonprofit organizations that were supporting that type of cause realized that, hey, you know what? People want to hear the impact. What is my money doing? Who is my money helping? And so now you see those same stories. They say, if you sponsor a child, we will send you reports of the family, their health, how they're doing in school. They send you pictures now. Why? Because it makes a difference. It makes a difference. So just the same with your nonprofit, whether it's grassroots or larger, you want to be able to share how that that donor's particular contribution helped and impacted who and in what way. That's extremely important. Make the connection, because that's inspiring, that's motivating, and that would make someone who says, within my budget, I can do it too. So that's strategy number four. And last but not least, strategy number five, and this is huge. This is where you ask your donors to participate in a campaign or fundraiser called peer-to-peer fundraising. Peer-to-peer fundraising. So that same video that you made of that donor, or that same live that you had with that donor, you ask the donor to share with their network. You ask them to share with their network with a goal in mind, something like a campaign where it's matching donations. So if you have a donor that donated $250 and uh, they share it with their network. Now their network, they're challenging their peers, their friends, their colleagues, they're challenging them to donate $250. So that one $250 now can turn into 750 or $1,000 because their peers are seeing, wow, an amazing organization. My colleague believes in their mission. He made a donation, and now my colleague is challenging me and asking me to do the same. So that is an excellent way for you to be able to grow your donor base by using your existing, and I wouldn't say use, I hate that word, by maximizing on the stories and spotlighting your donor stories to be able to have them inspire their peers and their colleagues to be able to do the same. So that is strategy number 5. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. And recapping, tell that personalized testimonial, have visual storytelling because people are not reading stories, people want to see the stories. Do a live, an interactive live, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever platform you use that you can use video. If you have a podcast, have your or talk show, have your donors come on and do an interview sharing their story of why they do what they do. And then fourth, tell the impact story, how it actually changed one of your recipients' lives. Make that necessary, or how it changed the organization's path. Maybe you were going in a path where you were thinking about closing your doors, and that donation made the difference in keeping your doors open. Tell the impact story. And last but not least, challenge your donors to challenge their peers and their colleagues to do a peer to peer fundraising and inspire their colleagues to be able to do a matching donation of whatever they donated to increase your donor base. So, and then nurture those new relationships. So that's what I wanted to share with you this week. Be intentional, sit with your board, see, who they can reach out to, what donors do you have, get your list of donors, and then start reaching out to them. Make it a point for you, your board, to start reaching out to those donors and start implementing some of the things that we just discussed. I guarantee you it's going to take your nonprofit to the next level, and it's going to be able to assist you in keeping your programs and services sustainable for the long haul. So, if you have not done so already, if you don't know where my YouTube channel is, go under Asiya Nasir 2014. You will find our page. Hit that subscribe button, share and like and comment on our YouTube channel, because that builds up the algorithms of the video for people looking for nonprofit content, and it'll guide them right over to our videos here on our page. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. So if you're just tuning in, you get that notification bell, you get to hear the video from the beginning. Go follow our page on Facebook, Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions, or our Instagram page, Utopian Enterprise, or here on LinkedIn under my name as the executive director, not the executive director, the founder of Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions. And, you know, follow us, hear more content, and continue to implement more importantly. So be intentional, be impactful, and make it a great day for yourself, your nonprofit, and the recipients that look and depend on your services. Talk to you next week, Monday, on new topics and new content that's going to build your nonprofit organization. See you later.